Whether you're new to collecting art or it's been a part of your family's legacy for generations, interest in building an influential collection has been around for centuries. For beginners, you may ask, how can I get started? For an art veteran, you may ask, how can I make plans for my existing collection? We've got those answers for you and more right here on UBS Trending. Hi everybody and welcome to UBS Trending. I'm Anthony Pastore. I'm sitting here today with my colleague Matthew Newton, who is an art advisory specialist in our Family Office Solutions group here at UBS. Matt, great to have you here. It's really, really good to see you.
Very nice to be on the show.
Yeah.
Anthony, I really appreciate you having me.
So Matthew, something that I love about what you do is your role is you work with our clients at UBS, you work with their advisors, and you're giving them guidance on not just the art collection, you're also working with them on due diligence and risk and even the historical significance of pieces. It sounds like an incredible job and something really interesting that we do here at UBS. But you have a new white paper out that is discussing not only building an influential collection, but also planning for the future of a collection that you may have or your family may have. So how could our clients really be using the white paper and the information you have in there?
Sure. Well, thank you again for having me. It's really nice to be here with you, Anthony. I would say, we really wanted to put out content that focuses on the wisdom that we have to share through the art advisory practice at UBS. And so what we're focusing on here is exactly as you said, families for centuries have used art collecting as a way to really capture the cultural heritage and even create a store of value. We refer to it not only financially, but like a cultural store of value, something that's really important. When you begin collecting, I think it's such a fascinating thing to watch someone do because it becomes an intellectual pursuit for those families. So it's a way of really engaging the wider cultural heritage, beginning to participate in it very directly. And so, through that, I think what you'll also see happen is individuals, as they become passionate about it and invested in it, and their collection accumulates and grows over time, they even start to take on this very active participation in the global art market. They become influencers as part of it. And really, you'll see them actually grow out from being an inward-facing private collector and have a very public-facing role, which is a very fascinating thing to watch.
Yeah, it's cool. It actually, because if you start, as you just said, the collection, you start to get interested in other people's collections and what else there is in the art market that's out there and the styles that you like, and it's your personal expression. And I was going to say next, I think of myself as having a pretty cool job here at UBS, but what you do is so fascinating because part of your job is you get to view some of the most prestigious and influential private collections throughout the country. Yeah. So what are some things maybe that some of the hallmarks of these collections that you notice when you see them? One
of the things that you see very commonly among the great collections across the country and across the world for that matter is that they tie in to a wider community of people. I feel very fortunate to help be a nexus for some of those connections for our clients, to help them match up to the resources and the other collectors in the world that have similar interests to theirs. And I really think that a collection is personal, but it's not at all done in a vacuum. And when you can really focus on that wider community, that can start in your own household, right? Involving your family members as part of that, the institutions that you care about, how you're working with them, really that wider community becomes crucial in telling the story of the collection. From there, I would say one of the key elements that you see over and over again for great collections is expertise. And it sounds like something that might be obvious, but a lot of people, I think, approach collecting and knowing what is the right artwork to buy or to acquire. But really what you find from great collectors is it comes from an area of expertise. So they can tell the difference because they're obsessed with it between an A+ artwork and a B+ artwork, which is not easy to do for anyone outside of that. So it's really a wonderful thing to watch that. So you go into someone's home and you see this collection of really wonderful things. Even if they don't all have tremendous market value, they have tremendous personal value for those collectors because they're so invested in it.
Yeah, it becomes part of their personal expression and their family heritage and the legacy. And it's fascinating. Clearly, I wouldn't know an A+ from a Z-, but it's whatever speaks to me. And maybe that's something similar to some of these folks that own some of these collections. But so like somebody who's just starting out or wants to be in the world of art and collecting, what's advice that you can give them to get started today if they wanted to?
I would say, I'm asked this question a lot. We're very fortunate to have a number of clients who are leaders in business. They've accomplished something successfully, and they turn their attention to collecting at a certain point of their lives. And so I'm asked this question, like, where do I begin with this? And it's a wonderful process. I would say that one of the very key initial steps is just finding out, what do you like? And there's really no easy way to answer this.
Right.
I encourage our clients to see as much artwork as possible, and to go to the art fairs, go to the museums, go to galleries, and don't be afraid to be honest with yourself about what you like and what you don't like. It's a big world. It's a big art world, and there's a lot of things. You'll find collections that really cover the gamut. It can be a total personal expression. And the only way you're going to get to that area of expertise and obsession, frankly, that is required, is to really focus on those things that you want to live with. From there, I would say, collectors need to think about whether they're going to focus narrowly on a certain type of artwork, or if they're going to sort of follow, you'll hear collectors say, oh, I bought it because I liked it. And just take a very broad approach. And
it's almost having like a diversified financial portfolio. You're not sticking with one type of theme. You're going more broad.
It could be. It could be a little bit like that. It takes, in that case, you're sort of constantly learning on the fly, which can be very exciting. But you'll also see collectors who, whether it's a certain artist, a certain group of artists, a certain period, they really want to go deep in that way. And that can really affect how a new collector aims themselves. I think that's a question to address relatively early on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like the idea of just go to museums, go to an artist's show, and just see what you like or what speaks to you, I guess is how you might even describe that. So for now, on the flip side of that, if you're part of a family or you're an individual who has been collecting art for some time, or even if you're just getting started, what about the future of that collection? What should you be thinking about today for what it looks like down the road?
It's a terrific question. I would say, I'm very fortunate to partner with both our family advisory team and also our advanced planning team, and we all together help families think through these conversations. And the reason is that art is probably the most difficult asset, we'll call it, to plan for.
Right.
In part because it comes with a lot of emotion. People, they've developed this expertise, they develop this obsession, and because of that, you'll really see when it comes to this time of like what's going to happen to this collection in the future, it's quite personal. And so one of the foundational elements is to really think about when it's appropriate, having an honest and really meaningful family conversation. A lot of times the collection is really led by, we'll call it a visionary collector or a collecting couple you'll often see. And the children of that family may or may not be involved in the collecting process. And so having an honest conversation about what they would like to include as part of their family going forward and what they might not. And that can really influence the direction. From there, the next important thing is to determine the value of the collection. So getting a fair market value appraisal from an independent appraisal service is extremely important as part of that process. And then you can start to think strategically about some of the directions you could go.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. And I know for our clients out there, our UBS clients, they can work with their advisor and then work with folks like yourself on your team who can actually help them along their process of getting their artwork valued or figuring out what their collection's future looks like. This is great stuff, Matthew. Thank you very much. Again, we're sort of in the running for coolest job at UBS, but yours is starting to take the cake for me. I love going to see new art and old art, and it's pretty fascinating stuff.
Well, you have to join me for a trip to the gallery sometime.
I would love to do that. Let's do it, and then we can do another interview after that and talk about what we saw.
Perfect.
That would be really cool.
That's great.
Thank you, Matthew Newton, again, for being with us. And for more information, there's a website that just launched called ubs.com/art of collecting. It's right there on your screen. So if you'd like more information on anything that Matthew and I talked about, please take a look at that website. You can also follow UBS on social media, particularly our Instagram channel at UBS Trending, for studios content that you're not going to find anywhere else. And again, if you have any questions about starting an art collection or what to do with the one you have, make sure you're first reaching out to your UBS financial advisor. Until next time, I'm Anthony Pastore. Have a great day, everyone, and remember to keep your eyes on what's trending. We'll see you soon. you.